Ryan Brown again today from J. Ryan Brown Law. Today we're going to talk about forensic interviews, okay? Anytime in the legal system we're dealing with the word forensic, it typically means done for the purpose of going to court or something like that, okay? And everybody knows what an interview is. But when we get this phrase together, forensic interview, it's got a very specific meaning within the criminal defense field, okay? These are typically done in sex crimes involving a minor. So anytime that someone is charged with child molestation, aggravated child molestation, anything like that, we typically see a forensic interview. They are interviews done by someone who has completed training to conduct these interviews. They at least should be done by somebody who has training. However, the training is only a 40-hour class. It's not like some lengthy experiential learning type thing. But regardless, there are people who routinely conduct forensic interviews. These interviews are designed to ask open-ended questions, explore inconsistencies, etc. from the child's story. Now, why that's important is the process is if someone makes an accusation of a sexual crime against a minor, law enforcement and prosecutors together will try and schedule a forensic interview as soon as possible, sometimes even the next day, right? In this interview, the interviewer and the child will meet, and the interviewer will interview this child. It's usually done with an audio and a visual recording, so it's audio and video recorded. Law enforcement, prosecutors, etc. are usually on the outside listening in on the interview, okay? The interview happens, the interviewer typically leaves, asks the prosecutor or the law enforcement officer, hey, should I ask any other questions? Goes back in and finishes the interview. This usually ends up being the prosecutor's key piece of evidence in a prosecution for a sex crime. One of the reasons for that is, in many cases, depending on the child's age, the interview can be introduced into court and played for the jury. So it's a very key piece of evidence that prosecutors rely heavily on. Because of that, anytime we're hired on a sex case involving a forensic interview, it is critical to secure an expert witness who is trained in deciphering and breaking down these videos to determine what errors the interviewer may have made. Maybe they asked leading questions suggesting an answer to the child until they got an answer they wanted. They may have repeated a question several times until they got an answer that they wanted from the child. They may have done a litany of things incorrect. The child may have had inconsistencies in their story that the interviewer did not properly explore. And this is critical in defending against a forensic interview, because once a child says something in the interview, the prosecutor is going to take that, they're going to run with it, they're going to rely on it heavily as the case proceeds through any plea negotiations and ultimately trial. It is critical that an expert be hired to review these. That is something that is always talked about at the initial consultation on a case like this, and it is, in almost every case, absolutely essential that be done. So if you are dealing with a case that involves a child that was forensically interviewed, if you're under investigation and you are aware that someone was forensically interviewed, because oftentimes these happen with a child before an arrest is ever made, it is not too early to call us. You need to call us or some lawyer and get help with this. As always, you can read more about defending sexual crimes on our website, jryanbrownlaw.com. You can also reach us by calling us or text message, which we always recommend any time of day, at 470-635-1725. That's 470-635-1725.